opening, but I don't think I can ever really get tired of it. Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome back to the PJ Campbell Network. Of course, I am your host, PJ Campbell, and I am super excited for our watch along tonight, which is, of course, Beetlejuice. We are going back in the way back machine for the 1988 classic that was directed by Tim Burton, stars a whole gaggle of people you guys are going to recognize, including the great Michael Keaton, Winona Ryder, Alec Baldwin, Geena Davis, and of course the very new Emmy winner, Catherine O'Hara. I am super excited, and with me as always is my friend Maxwell Haddad. Hi, my friend.
Hey, PJ.
How are you?
It's just us tonight.
It is. It's a weird thing. It's just the two of us. Just the two of us. You can make it if we try. You know.
I mean, sure.
A little bit of Will Smith for you for the night.
That's a pretty nice T-shirt and hoodie you got there.
Yeah, I'm a little prepared for tonight. A little bit of a Halloween Horror Nights Beetlejuice from this year's Maze that, of course, we know. Sadly, we did not get to see, and we got Beetlejuice.
I follow Halloween Horror Nights rumors all year, and it was heavily rumored that there was going to be a Beetlejuice house this year. Of course, Halloween Horror Nights was canceled, but they decided to still release all the merch, and about half of the merch was Beetlejuice related. Last year they had a Ghostbusters house, so it sort of felt natural that they do Beetlejuice this year. I am assuming / hoping / optimistic that next year things will be back to normal enough, and they will still have the Beetlejuice house for us all to look through, because they build those houses and sound stages they don't use anyway, so it could just sit there all year. They could spruce it up a bit, and then we can get our scaries on next fall.
That's my hope as well, man. I really want to go and experience this house. I love this world, and we're going to talk a lot about it, but for a movie that lasts all of an hour and 32 minutes, this movie has had a huge impact on me, and in the realm of pop culture, it stayed. And there's going to be so much to kind of talk about throughout the animated series, the musical, video games, the impact of everyone's career. Like, this ended up jettisoning a lot of these people into superstardom.
It did. And you're right. There's a lot of other media using Beetlejuice. A lot of it good. I love the animated series. I have the complete series on DVD. I became a big fan of the musical. Yep. There's just a lot of cool stuff. But before we really dive into Beetlejuice, let's take a quick look at some of the other stuff we have coming up on the network.
Yes, sir. We got some stuff happening, don't we?
We do. Wednesday night, Chris Clark is back with Sunday Soundtrack. They are doing Tangled, one of my favorite modern era Disney musicals, with guests Jen Kemp and Jillian. I can't pronounce her last name. I'm sorry. But I'll tell you this about Jillian. She won the Video Chronic Tangled quiz with a perfect score. She got every question right and never had to go to multiple choice. So I don't know about you, but I can think of no better person to talk about Tangled.
Absolutely not. She knows Tangled better than almost anyone I know, which is saying something. I am super excited to see them talk about this movie, because I kind of brought it up last night when we were talking about it. Even then, was like, this is one of the best Disney films of the last decade for me. It's one that I think is like rightfully meta on their own back catalog and stuff. So I'm excited to hear them talk about the music.
Yeah, it came out a year or so after Princess and the Frog. And I really sort of look at that as the turning point for Disney animation. This was the first princess musical they did with CG animation instead of hand-drawn, and I think it really set the stage for what Disney animation would do over the next decade.
Yeah.
Thursday, speaking of musicals, we're doing Front Center Mezzanine, but we're doing it a little different this time. We've done 8 episodes so far, and in each one we've had a special guest from the theater community, and we've just done an interview. But I thought, hey, you know what? It's spooky season. It's Halloween. Let's flip the script. So we're doing a very special Front Center Mezzanine where we're going to talk about our favorite spooky musicals. And although you only see PJ and myself and Alex Brightman and Anthony Stewart Head and the Phantom and the Addams Family and a vampire in that beautiful thumbnail, we do have 2 very special guests joining us for that show.
I'm so excited.
First, Preston Max Allen, who was our very first guest on Front Center Mezzanine, who wrote the incredible spooky musical We Are the Tigers, as well as Carrie 2, the parody musical, is going to be joining us. And also, speaking of the Video Chronic quiz, we're being joined by Video Drew.
Yeah,
So we have someone from the theater world. We have someone from the Schmodown world. Everything is coming together. I think it's going to be a great show. I hope you join us on Thursday.
Yes.
Then Friday, we're not doing anything. You know why we're not doing anything? Because there's a Schmodown pay-per-view match. It's the team's championship, and I don't know about you, but I saw Bibiani's announcement today, and I was like, whoa! You might want to go to Christian's Twitter if you didn't see that little video. Talk about a twist.
It was real good.
It's Shazam versus Corruption. My money is on the one named after a superhero film that I love, but whoever wins. I love all those guys. I think they're two great teams. So that means Saturday night, double feature, Watchalong, Scary Movie Squad, Conjuring and Conjuring 2. Probably going to start an hour or two earlier than normal. We will get the time specifically out to you guys by Thursday. We haven't decided yet. Yeah. But if you've watched any of our Scary Movie Squads with Chris Clark and you've seen The Conjuring and you know how effectively those films build suspense and have jump scares, I think Chris is going to be in for some of his best reactions and screams yet. And I, on a personal note, particularly the first one, love those movies and cannot wait to watch them.
I'm afraid he might die on camera on Saturday night.
Well, like I said,
you
have him sign a waiver.
Yeah.
This is an interesting question. I miss Patrick Hogue.
We do too.
I cannot reveal too much, but he has a job that is currently taking up quite a bit of his time. It may or may not be on the set of something. And if you've ever worked on a set, you know how all-consuming it can be to be on a set. From what I understand, that job is wrapping up soon, and we hope to have him back on the network ASAP, both for the watch-alongs and also for the Sunday evening unwind. I just got to say, we did our first unwind last night. The viewership and reaction was awesome. Yeah. I had an incredible time. You guys in the chat were so engaged and communicative. It had high viewership numbers. And I think we're going to keep doing it Sunday after Sunday after Sunday with all sorts of different cats coming to join us, different topics, just a way to literally unwind, chill, relax. And as I mentioned, if you watched last night or follow me on Twitter, we have a little contest going on. Check out my Twitter. I know PJ retweeted it. I put the link in the Facebook group as well. There's a little 5-question survey. If you fill that out, you get entered to win a copy. I have 2 copies here of Pete Buttigieg's book, Trust. Fill out the survey. Everyone who enters will be entered into a randomizer, and we will announce 2 winners on next Sunday's Unwind, and then we'll send those books out to you ASAP.
Yes, sir.
One final thing. Today is Monday, October 12th. Tomorrow is Tuesday, October 13th. 1 week from tomorrow is Tuesday, October 20th. And much to your dismay, do you know what's happening on Tuesday, October 20th?
I want it to stop.
Box 2.
There it is.
Our very special guest. And that picture pretty much sums up his emotions during this episode. William Bibiani. As you can see, Kristen and I had large balls in our mouth. It's a whole thing, and I hope you all are excited and join us for that. Now, before we start the movie, I, of course, as always, have to shout out our incredible Patreon producers.
Yes, we do.
Our gold tier associate producer, Brandy Parker. Our ruby tier producers, Brandon Buckingham, Kale the Youth Critic, Stephen White, Ferris Muthana, Michael K. Bedore, and our newest bright and shiny ruby tier producer, Molly Damon. Thank you, Molly Damon, and thank you all of you for supporting our Patreon. Here's a quick look. We have 5 different tiers with all sorts of different fun perks. You can join us on Discord, get box outtakes. We're going to be doing an exclusive Q&A AMA stream in the next couple of days. If you have a $5 and up membership, you get to vote on upcoming content. You can, if you're the $25 gold tier, you get to choose a Suddenly soundtrack, which Brandy Parker did, and that's going to be Cabaret, which will...
I'm sorry, I was trying to help you.
Which will be a week from this week. I'm going to be on it. My wife is going to be on it, and Whitney Seibold is going to be on it. I think it's going to be great. Cabaret is in my top 10 favorite films of all time. It's one of my top 3 favorite musicals, if you're including stage musicals of all time. Thank you for choosing that, Brandy. It was an amazing pick, and I cannot wait to talk about it. But I think it's Beetlejuice time.
I think it is. I think that we have talked enough and everyone is very excited. And unfortunately, we did think this was on HBO Max. Apparently, it is actually moved to Hulu Premium. So if you do have Hulu, I believe you can access it there. Otherwise, this is one you got to rent on your own and or buy. I know that times are tough right now, but if I could recommend one movie that's going to make you happy year round, even if it's not spooky season, it's this. So it is worth having in your digital collection. So with that, Maxwell, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, guys, if this is your first time here, welcome to the PJ Campbell Network. We're happy to have you. What's going to happen is I'm going to count down from 5. As soon as I say go, we're going to hit play, and we're all going to sit and watch Beetlejuice together. Maxwell and I are going to commentate the film and talk with you guys. We'll be reading your comments in the chat, and it's just going to be a good time. Let's celebrate the spooky season in style with a little bit of Beetlejuice in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and go.
The ball kind of looks like the Xbox logo.
It does. I hadn't seen that logo in so long until the last time I put this on. I don't think that company still makes movies.
Well, no, they don't. But, and I'm checking my facts here. Yeah, so David Geffen, who owned
this company,
David Geffen is part of DreamWorks.
Makes sense.
The SKG, if you would ever see the DreamWorks logo and you'd see SKG, it stood for Spielberg, Katzenberg, and Geffen. Everyone knows who Steven Spielberg is. Jeffrey Katzenberg just had an epic fail with Quibi, and David Geffen is a great film producer who produced Beetlejuice as well as so many other movies. There's also a playhouse, a very popular playhouse named after him in LA. It's one of my favorite theaters in LA. Right off the bat, Danny Elfman's score is all-time great.
As you can see, I'm already like dancing to it and stuff. I think this might be my favorite score of his period because I just think it's so lively and it so sets up the world perfectly out the gate.
I would put it in his top 5. I think he's an incredible undersung composer.
Me too.
You know, I think he's done some of his best work with Tim Burton. Edward Scissorhands has some gorgeous tracks.
Yeah.
Big Fish is an incredible score.
Fantastic.
Batman, of course, but I also absolutely love his theme for Spider-Man, and I think his score for Spider-Man 2 is still one of the best superhero scores. And of course, Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah. Elfman and Burton ended up being one of the best duos in cinema history for me. I just think that they really gel.
Yeah, the only other like long-running director and composer collaboration that strikes me as similar is Spielberg and John Williams.
Oh, absolutely. Which, of course, we always love. This is not a small country getaway in Vermont, Stardrew. This is set in upstate New York. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly. Because don't they talk about going back to the city?
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. A young Alec Baldwin.
They're in Connecticut.
Connecticut. Okay.
Which is like 45 minutes to an hour from the city.
Right. That's why I couldn't remember if it was the upstate side of it or if it was just outside of.
You know, it's funny. This movie was a year before Batman.
Yep.
And I was alive, but I was very young. But if I had watched Beetlejuice and I had heard the director Beetlejuice is doing Batman and he's using one of his actors from Beetlejuice as Batman, I would have said, of course, Alec Baldwin would be a perfect Batman.
Yeah. And then you would go, no, the guy who's Beetlejuice, Michael Keaton, Mr. Mom? If he was announced as Batman today, the internet would implode.
Oh, it would burn down. But history has proven that Michael Keaton was exemplary as both Bruce Wayne and Batman.
Yes.
Even though Alec Baldwin clearly has the jawline.
Well, that's why Alec Baldwin got to be the Shadow.
Right. That's true.
He was also, as you know, in one of my favorite films, The Hunt for Red October, he was the first iteration of Jack Ryan on screen.
Indeed. Interesting how his career went from drama to comedy, and Keaton went from comedy to drama.
Yeah, and then it went from drama for or comedy to action films in the 90s, then back to comedy.
Yep.
Like, he's come full circle. It's very fascinating.
Yep. Oh, Geena Davis.
I love her in this.
I love her in
everything, really.
Everything. She's in one of my favorite movies of all time, A League of Their Own. And of course, Thelma and Louise.
Right. I just love everything about the way that this starts. Like, it definitely feels like small town America, though. The ones where people just walk into the house, no big deal.
I think Tim Burton did a lot of movies like that in the 80s that dealt with like the more unusual side of suburbia.
Yeah. He was almost the other side of the Spielberg coin.
Mm-hmm.
Spielberg was doing films about, as we talked about with Poltergeist, like that very small town Americana feel. He wanted to show the real suburb life. Burton, on the other hand, was like, I'll do the suburb life, but I'm going to flip it on its head.
So Alec isn't in any of the Ocean's movies. No. Maybe you're thinking of Andy Garcia?
That could be.
I don't know. Oh, I can't tell you how many times I've needed a new brush for tongue oil.
Yeah. So what's interesting to me is that you and I both talked about it a little bit, and I kind of wanted to bring it up as we were going. The Beetlejuice musical does not start with these characters. It actually changes the narrative a little bit, and really I thought it was interesting that this is about 10 minutes into the show versus like the opening of it.
Yeah. Well, what the musical does is it sort of uses Beetlejuice himself as a narrator in his own story. He breaks the fourth wall repeatedly, and then he introduces you to the Maitlands.
Yeah. Brandy. And he just got to the store alone. She'd still be alive.
Very good point.
Yeah.
They also die a different way in the musical.
Yes. Well, and I also think the musical shines a much bigger light on the relationship between Winona Ryder's character and the parents as well, and like especially the relationship with her stepmom, which is never really explored.
Well, again, or not again, but the film is 90 minutes. The stage show is 2 hours and 20 minutes plus an intermission. So you gotta, you have the songs, but you still have to
fill it out.
And I think it did a nice job.
I do too. I think it's just so interesting. I love this movie to pieces. I think that the Broadway production's my preferred version overall. I think it's the best mix of every version of this, including the animated series. Like, it just so loves the world so much. And Alex Brightman's a revelation in it.
Yeah, I think the musical definitely took a lot of lessons from the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you watched this, but Alex Brightman just got to play Beetlejuice in animated form on Teen Titans Go.
He did, and it was fantastic seeing him pop up in it.
The dog. They're such good people. They swear for a dog. I mean, I would too.
My life is nothing.
If I'm driving around the city, I'll slow down and let pigeons cross.
Yeah.
But then the dog kills them.
Yeah. So sad. I was just getting to know them.
You also meet Lydia.
Yep.
In the musical before you do in the film.
She has a beautiful ballad about her life and her mother, and then Beetlejuice walks out and goes, "Holy crap, a ballad already?" Brandy, murder dog, pure evil. Mm-hmm. Damn, doggy killed those two.
They're tracking water everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, Brandy, I'm really sad because the show was going to start touring, and who knows when that's going to happen now. Great practical effects, by the way, in this with the fire. Burton was always good with stuff like that.
He was. And he had, I think I don't want to go on some dissertation about Burton's diminishing returns, but I think he had such a signature aesthetic that in some of his more recent films, he almost became a parody of himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've always said that the Alice in Wonderland film he made. Real quick, I love this. I've always loved this. This whole look at the Netherworld is so cool.
Yeah. And I can't, this movie won an Oscar for Best Makeup, but I can't believe it wasn't nominated for production design, for special costuming, effects, for the score, and frankly, Keaton should have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nomination.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he is a supporting actor in this movie.
Yeah, when you think about Beetlejuice, you don't realize really, as Beetlejuice goes, you'd think he's the main focal point. And while he is a focal point of the film, he is not the biggest part of the film. He's not even the lead.
That art for the handbook for the recently deceased so iconic. They even use it in the show. I have a journal with it on it.
Yeah. But to go back to what we were talking about real quick with the Tim Burton thing, you're definitely right, because I feel exactly the same way when it comes to his movies. Alice in Wonderland especially felt like someone trying to mimic a Tim Burton film without the heart of a Tim Burton film, and I couldn't believe it was the same guy.
Yeah, well, I did like Dumbo.
I did like Dumbo too. I think that was the first time in a while I'd really.
I'm not one of those people who says everything he's done in the last decade is bad, because Big Eyes was pretty good. Big Fish is fantastic. Agreed. I like Dumbo, but he's had more questionable entries than quality lately.
Yeah. I look forward to a time when Tim Burton has his big comeback, because it's bound to happen.
Well, I think he needs to do another personal film and not something with IP or for his.
I agree. I completely agree.
That's a small bed.
That bed looked like a twin bed, maybe.
I think it was probably a double.
Yeah. Just way too small. Mike, you should definitely listen to the cast recording after this.
There is also, Beetlejuice has been such a part of Universal Studios, the theme parks, for so long.
Yep.
They had the Beetlejuice Graveyard Review at Universal Orlando for years. It was always so fun.
He's still a walk-around character, too.
Oh, yeah. He still walks around a lot. Like, when I think of Universal Studios, a theme park, I think of Beetlejuice. That show is gone. It was demolished and replaced with the unfortunately mediocre Fast and Furious ride, but...
Well, we try not to think about that. The difference is that in Florida, it's actually a ride, whereas at Universal Hollywood, it's actually the end of the tram tour.
And I think it works in context of the tram tour.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that they keep playing the Harry Belafonte song throughout.
Mm-hmm. I mean, this might arguably be one of the most iconic scenes. Not this one in particular, but the use of this music. It actually might be the most iconic scene from the movie outside of the "It's Showtime." Trying to yell to him, it's not working.
I haven't realized yet.
No.
I have a shirt just like that.
Oh, that's nice. I want one like that.
I think it was just Old Navy, honestly.
Probably. Just it looks like a nice button up.
Yeah, nice for the fall. It's a thicker shirt. Easy Halloween costume.
Yeah. I don't want to say it, but that sounds like the dream. Not to worry about things anymore, I should say. Not the whole
dying is easy, living is harder.
Yep. Reefism let us know that Jack Nicholson loved the film so much, and that's why he was willing to play the Joker in Tim Burton's film. That's awesome. I didn't realize that.
There you go.
I always find the way that time transitions in this so interesting as well.
Ladies and gentlemen,
the Queen herself.
The Queen herself, one of the greatest comedic actresses of all time, finally an Emmy winner.
Yep.
Catherine O'Hara. And then we have unfortunately,
Yeah.
Jeffrey Jones, who uh, was arrested for possession of child pornography.
Which was bad. We don't talk about Jeffrey Jones much.
No, and he's in a lot of films I like.
Mike says, "Oh, hey, it's Video Drew." I mean, not terribly wrong.
He is a registered sex offender, and we'll leave it at that.
I love the way that you meet Lydia right at the beginning of this, sitting on the couch. Just Winona Ryder. That's I'll say this, like between the Broadway version and this version of Lydia seems much happier and like kind of enjoys this situation more. You know what I mean? Versus obviously the one that's much more traumatized in the musical.
It adds more of an emotional undercurrent to the musical.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love Winona Ryder. Like I said, I think I said this when we watched Adam Sandler Value. Her and Christina Ricci.
Yeah.
The queens of Gothic girls in the late 80s and early 90s.
And I love her in Frankenweenie, which we actually didn't bring up in the last decade of Burton. That movie is a masterpiece, and
it's real good.
I love it so
much. I'm not
much.
going to use the M word, but I rarely, if ever, use that word.
For me, I think it's just such a love letter to all things horror in so many ways. And
I think it's great. Don't get me wrong. Oh.
Brandy's
Glenn Shaddix.
Yeah. Brandy said Ricci was better in her opinion. I love both of them, though. Oh, that was amazing. They are the worst sculptures as well.
Sucks, yes.
Is this punishment or something? Geena Davis just has such a cool, like, girl next door woman in this movie. I don't know what it is. It's such a good performance. Why did she lick his nose? I don't have an answer for you, Brandy. I don't have an answer for you. I'm sorry. The Otho character is just so much fun too. I think that their like whole dynamic is perfect. Insert Chris Clark scream here. Push it to the side.
Pushes the noose away.
They died. A hair analyst, briefly. The smile on her face. The lighting on Geena Davis's face there was really cool too, to like give the death look. The look on her face. I just love Catherine O'Hara so much, and it's so funny because then just a few years later she does Home Alone, and she couldn't be more different. She still gets to scream, but much more down to earth, less crazy.
One of my biggest pleasures of this quarantine was that my parents finally sat down and watched all of Schitt's Creek, which I'm a huge fan of, and I never thought they would watch, and they really liked it. One day my dad texted me, was like, "You know Moira Rose is the mom from Home Alone, right?" I'm like, "Who do you think you're talking to, Dad?"
Yeah, I mean, if you didn't know that, I'd be very concerned. Catherine O'Hara was real good in a lot of those, like A Mighty Wind and
Christopher Guest movies.
Yeah, the Christopher Guest movies. Yeah.
Yeah, and she often worked with Eugene Levy in those, so the two of them
Yeah.
have had an incredible career and chemistry together.
Yeah. They're just so good together, and it really gets showed off so well in
She is
Schitt's Creek.
perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, Mike, you absolutely need to watch Schitt's Creek. If you like Catherine O'Hara, she is incredibly funny in that show, and it's just a great show.
I think it's one of the most real, fun, and honestly, just incredibly well-written comedies in a long time. And I think it just gets better as it goes, and the characters get to grow in such cool ways.
That's my favorite part about it is a lot of sitcoms are content in keeping the status quo.
Right.
And I think Schitt's Creek I think it's such an incredible masterclass in character growth.
Yeah.
Oh,
I agree.
I love these effects.
Me too. Again, the set design and production design is just remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible effects work here. I love the sandworm designs too.
It got yeah. The sandworm is so cool, and I love how they recreated it with a giant puppet.
Yeah.
In the stage show, but that stop motion is so great.
This is actually one of my favorite uses of stop motion in a movie, I think. I just think it really fills out the world. Burton used stop motion in so many interesting ways.
He did.
I just can't get enough of the set design. Every time I look at it, I get so wrapped in it. I think the house looks so great, and the way that it changes so much between the two couples and showing such different versions of people.
Yep, I agree.
Oh, definitely very Ray Hughausen. That she is. Winona Ryder is a natural blonde.
The production design was done by Bo Welch, who has 4 Oscar nominations for The Color Purple, A Little Princess, The Birdcage, which I'm a huge fan of, and Men in Black.
Men in Black makes sense too.
It does, yeah. I think Barry Sonnenfeld, in many ways, comes from the school of Tim Burton.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that through the Addams Family stuff, especially.
And then,
Bo
Welch did all of the production design for the Netflix series of Unfortunate Events.
Mm-hmm.
He did Thor.
And of course, Barry Sonnenfeld produced the series of Unfortunate Events TV series. I want to say he even might have directed 1 or 2 of the episodes.
He produced the movie too, so.
Yeah. Well, didn't he direct the first movie too?
No, Brad Silberling directed the movie.
Okay. What they do to this house is just next level and really gets rid of that small town vibe.
It sure does.
Oh, shit. Did they find it? What?
Oh my god.
What are you doing? I love that ad. I think that it's such a real. That's what those ads look like in newspapers and stuff.
If you were a big fan of this movie, I could see the cockroach with the mallet being a great tattoo.
Yeah, absolutely. A bioexorcist. I think between this and Ferris Bueller, as much as I know Jeffrey Jones is always going to now be very problematic no matter how you look at it, I've always loved his 2 performances in those movies so much, and they were like very essential parts of my childhood.
The timing of that is so great.
It is so good.
I also loved him on Deadwood.
Oh yeah, he was great in Deadwood.
It's a good year for makeup.
Yeah, great year for
makeup.
makeup.
Scrooge. Scrooge has some great makeup.
Oh, we might get to talk about that later. You know,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I, I don't know. It's not like we have some stuff all lined up for November and December.
Mm-hmm.
He's also good in Sleepy Hollow,
which we're watching in a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. That's because she too is strange and unusual.
Like me.
And me. That's what my name says. Strange and unusual PJ tonight.
I almost did that, and then I saw you did it, so I didn't.
One of us could have done it's PJ, but that also sounds very Shining-esque.
It does. I love that model. I love models like that. This is gonna sound so nerdy, but one day if I have like a basement, I want like a model with that with a beautiful train set going around it.
I get it.
I love trains.
Yeah, trains are, dude. The Miracle on when we went to 34th Street for Christmas time
last December, PJ and I went to Macy's for Christmas to meet Santa Claus, and they had an incredible train set.
Yeah, I have video of it still.
We had a reservation. We had to wait for like 3 hours, and like an hour and a half of that is like in a hot, sweaty hallway. And then finally you get let into Santa's workshop, and it was so beautiful. And finally there's air conditioning, and it had this incredible, maybe the best, most elaborate train set I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay, real quick.
No idea.
Yeah, none at all. We got to say, this, again, to your point, Michael Keaton should have gotten a Best Supporting Actor nod for this character of Beetlejuice, and his introduction here is beyond perfect.
I love that it's like a terrible like used car salesman advertisement.
He's very schlubby feeling, like you don't trust him at all. He says all the wrong things, and yet you think about it.
I like that they're more scared of the humans, and the humans are the ghosts.
Yeah, which is kind of one of those great cinema flips, you know, when the monsters are scared of the humans more than that, because to them, we're scary. This is so typical of all of us when we don't want to do things, and it's like, don't read the manual. Why even actually look at the manual when things are wrong? I want everything explained to me.
A handle.
Yeah.
A doorknob.
Knocking makes sense.
The music swells.
Yeah. Dramatic music.
Rumbling. It's kind of like How to Get into Diagon Alley.
Yeah, a little bit, actually. I love the lighting effects right here. The green and that shot of
the way it just got her eyes. Yeah.
Very Spielbergian, actually.
That is one of the ugliest houses I've ever seen.
Why would knocking 3 times be 3 pages after draw the door? No wonder she hates the book.
It's probably written by a man.
Probably. I've never heard of Transylvania 6500. Or 60.
She was on a couple episodes of Grey's Anatomy.
Mm-hmm. He wants to be a bird watcher. Get it. He doesn't even react to that.
Nope.
That's what I think is so funny. He's just like, nope.
Just goes to show how so frequently parents ignore what their kids say.
Yeah. Hey, what's going on, Danny?
Hey, man.
That turnstile being like nasty looking bone and flesh. Oh, it's so good.
Oh my god, the design of this guy with the shrunken head is iconic.
Yeah. It's one of the coolest creature designs maybe of all time, honestly.
I will say this, and I don't want this to be a oh, my movie paused. A constant comparison between the stage musical, but the movie does have a lot more cool creature design.
Yeah.
For obvious reasons, they didn't spend as much time in the Netherworld.
Yeah.
But we did get Miss Argentina, and she has an incredible song.
Yes.
And what's funny is Miss Argentina is played by the same one as played by the stepmom.
Yep.
If I knew then what I knew now.
No, you're right. They have not read all the way through the manual.
I have to say, if I died and was presented with a book called A Handbook for the Recently Deceased, I would probably read it from front to back. Just to, see what's going on, make sure.
That's fair.
Then again, I love to read, so.
Ah, that little town is just so cool. Like you said, I love the model work.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Stardew says, I would date her, the receptionist. Oh, yeah, and happy early birthday, Stardew. Stardew's birthday is on Sunday, everyone. So, wish Stardew happy birthday.
Plenty of time to read, Mike. Such a great model.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, Geena Davis was in the first season of The Exorcist also.
That show's good.
That show was very good. It was actually a very surprisingly good sequel to the movie. That design.
That is such a great joke.
Yeah. The shrunken head again.
Shrunken Head is in the musical.
Shrunken Head, yep. There's a really great version of the second song in the opening of the musical that was done for the Tony Awards, and he has a cameo in it too. But you guys can look it up on YouTube. Look up Beetlejuice Tony Awards and watch it. It's so good.
I am about to put the link in the chat. Here is the link for all of you.
And the cool thing is, you'll probably notice it's because Beetlejuice can break the fourth wall and talk to people and stuff. There's some good meta jokes that are only for the Tony version, just like the Thanksgiving one, and so on and so forth.
What baffles my mind is not only did they have to rewrite the lyrics each time, but the cast, especially Alex Brightman, had to learn the new lyrics.
Yeah, every time.
Not easy at all.
Not even. What a dad joke. I've been feeling a little flat. This whole design is some of Burton's most excellent work as a filmmaker, because I think, especially in the 80s when he was still very new, he leaned in on what people knew his movies to look and feel like. And it's just, there's a reason it's still so iconic.
I agree. Yeah, I felt like it had more material to mine Reefism.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish Netflix had saved it like they did with Lucifer. Because wasn't The Exorcist on Fox as well?
It was. But I also wonder if part of that is because now we know that the studio who owned Exorcist is now also working on a new film.
Right. Exorcist 3 is great.
That was one I kept wondering if we should do here for the network because it's so underseen and so underappreciated, in my opinion. But at the same time, well, we might have to one day because it's got the greatest jump scare in film.
Look, nothing says we can't do horror watch-alongs in next year.
That's true. That's true.
We don't have to do it all in Spooky Month.
But it's a great, great movie. George C. Scott is fantastic in it.
The Heretic is not that good, but I still watch it sometimes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I own all of them. I keep going back to the prequels still, too, and I know that that's very unpopular. I actually really like both versions. I tend to go back to the beginning, which was the one that was the first release of it. That was all the reshot version.
Yeah, that was the one in theaters?
Yeah, they both technically had a theater one, but one was much smaller than the other.
I saw the one that had the bigger release.
That's the beginning.
It was pretty good. I mean, not great, but...
No, I mean, I remember I texted you last month. I was rewatching it like super late one night, and I was like, watching Exorcist at the beginning still kind of held up. And I mean, part of it's also probably the nostalgia because it was one of the first horror films I remember getting to see in a theater and like it being very affecting for that reason. But it was also to hear that music for the first time in the theater. I think it also played a part in it. Like the theme is still there.
Mm-hmm.
I like that movie. I think Alexander Skarsgård. No, Peter Skarsgård. Stellan Skarsgård. Thank you.
It's the dad.
It's the dad. He is great in it.
He's great in a lot of things.
Yeah, but he plays the younger version of Max von Sydow's character from the original. Yeah. What did you expect? It's so good. All horror all the time. That's how I live my life, Brandy. You know that. There's another interesting twist to this character in the Broadway production that is not in the movie. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's good.
And this is the, iconic Sylvia Sidney, who, did so much great work throughout her career.
That right down here where her neck is cut and the smoke still comes out is just such a great effect.
Mm-hmm. What is it with calling people's names times? Bloody Mary, Candyman, Beetlejuice?
I don't know. It's very interesting to me, actually. I'm still sad we didn't get the new Candyman this month, by the way. I was so excited.
I was incredibly excited as well. I think it'll be well worth the wait to see it on the big screen.
I agree with you. I just was so hyped. That trailer was so good. I always love this shot, by the way, too. The transition into going down into this little set and model is just so good. And again, the fly stop motion is fantastic. Yeah. What is the name of the candy bar that Beetlejuice uses to lure the fly to its death in Beetlejuice? That'd be a good question for the show. Look at that New York backdrop.
Robert Goulet, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. Who was also in Scrooged.
Yes.
To bring that full circle. He was also the voice of Mikey when he would sing in Recess.
Did you know that there's a new Blu-ray of The Exorcist: The Beginning coming out tomorrow?
Yeah, I saw that. Sony Pictures apparently has the distribution rights to The Exorcist now, because I noticed that they were putting both versions out tomorrow.
Oh, Dominion is the other one?
Yeah, Dominion and Exorcist prequel is the other one.
Yeah. Did you know that Drop Dead Gorgeous is finally on Blu-ray for the first time ever.
No, what? Really?
Warner Archive put it out. I just
Oh,
watched that the other day. That
I'll have
movie's
to-
hard to get a hold of. It's on HBO Max now.
yeah. I love Warner Archive. If you guys have never checked out their line, they do some really great work. The thing that I love about Warner Archive is it's like print on demand, so they're not. I think that's kind of the future of home video right now, for better or worse, is going to be print on demand versus the normal print a bunch and then hope that you don't, get stuck with them, that they won't move. Like, I think print on demand is really the future of it, and Warner does a great job with that stuff.
Keep the overhead low.
Yeah.
And it lets physical media stay alive, which you and I are both big proponents of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, my copy of Motel Hell, Terror in the Isles, and the Mallrats Arrow release all come this week.
Oh, nice. I don't have anything. I don't think I do, but I think I'm going to get both of those Exorcist ones.
I
want to get Mallrats.
I mean, I think this will be the definitive version, since this is the first time they're also putting the TV cut of Mallrats on Blu-ray, which I'm excited to see because I've never actually seen it.
Anytime I see a ghost, those are the noises I make. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
That line always made me laugh. Cut it out, I'm a child, for God's sake. Winona Ryder is no nonsense in this, and I think that this is like maybe one of the most defining movies in her career. But I think that she always showed so much range as an actress, but I always go back to her in this. And like, for whatever reason, this is how I always picture her. No nonsense, in your face.
I think it's a testament to how much I love it and how good it is that I sort of go to Stranger Things now, but this was definitely iconic for her.
I adore her in Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm.
Her and Bob's relationship was just...
I have not had a Zagnut bar. Have you?
No, I have not. Brandy, which movie do you love so much?
I'm pretty sure Drop Dead Gorgeous is what she was referring to.
Okay.
Because Brandy has great taste.
Brandy does have great taste. It's so funny to me that even when Burton went back to use her in Frankenweenie, she still plays like a young kid who's kind of this. I mean, she's basically the same character.
Mm-hmm. Catherine O'Hara's in it too.
Yep, she plays the mom.
Catherine O'Hara is also Sally in Nightmare Before Christmas.
This is true.
Which was a Schmodown question this year.
That James White got. Was Heather's the year before or after Beetlejuice?
Heather's was the same year.
Okay, 88 also.
Also 88. I don't know which she filmed first.
They're just both so iconic.
Heather's is great, and there was a pretty good musical too.
Yeah. Heather's just had a Steelbook release, actually, speaking of.
I wish you hadn't told me that.
I know, sorry.
Best Buy?
Yeah, I think so. Best Buy's taking all of our money for the Steelbook stuff that they've been doing.
That Clueless one is so great.
I know. They just put 300 out on 4K Steelbook also.
I'm not...
I kind of think it would be a killer 4K disc just for how it looks.
Yeah, I don't hate it. It's fine.
The score is great, though. Funeral.
Oh, Requiem for a Dream and District 9 are out on 4K tomorrow.
I have an old copy of the Blu-ray, so if it's 4K, I need to pick it up.
I know you know what's out on 4K on the 20th.
4K on the 20th is Back to the Future, the trilogy, 35th anniversary edition, my favorite series of all time.
And a new Tremors movie comes out that day.
Goddamn right it does. Tremors 7.
Streaker Island.
Yep.
And a steelbook of Princess Mononoke and My Neighbor Totoro, and a steelbook of Pumpkinhead.
My Pumpkinhead one already shipped from Shout.
And
I can't
Shudder's original movie Scare Package comes out on Blu-ray.
Scare Package is good.
Sorry, I just really like Blu-rays, you guys. I'm sorry.
No, that's a good thing. We want to promote people buying physical media, you know.
I collect Blu-rays, books, shoes, and watches.
I collect Blu-rays, books. Do comics count as books, or are we going to count that as separate?
Comics count.
All right. And posters.
I always like Winona Ryder in Mr. Deeds.
Oh yeah, dude, Mr. Deeds gets a bad rap. I like that movie.
I have a real soft spot for that nonsense.
Sandler for a long time played such a big part of I couldn't tell you how many times I watched Happy Gilmore, Billy Madison, 51st Dates, Big Daddy.
I never liked Big Daddy that much.
Really, that's actually my favorite Sandler.
Beetlemeyer. He made him Jewish. Beetlemeyer. Just to be clear, for people who argue that he's not a supporting character, we're halfway through the movie. We're 45 minutes in of a 90-minute movie. And we're only just now really getting Beetlejuice interacting with our characters.
Yep.
I think we're in the model.
Yeah, Mike gets it. He's like, I've seen that one the most too.
That's fair.
Yeah. Oh, Brandy said she just bought a projector screen and a projector that plays DVDs so she can get back into physical media. I love that. So right here is the background right now on our stream, actually.
Indeed. Looks like we dig Barbara.
I still wonder if the Barbara name is kind of a nod to George A. Romero in Night of the Living Dead.
Probably.
They're coming to get you, Barbara. I love the design. I don't think you're gonna have to do either of those things. That reveal is so perfect.
Yep. Such a great entrance.
Yeah. And again, Keaton just kills it. His voice is fantastic.
Everything about this performance is incredible. The physicality, the manic energy.
Yeah.
The voice.
I love that he looks like a cab driver right here, too.
Oh, what's up? How you doing?
I love those guys over at Let's Get Ready to Talk Schmodown.
Hell yeah.
They also, and I know I don't want to keep doing this, but in the musical, that same little sequence has they add do the Japanese ghost walk, and it kills me. It just makes me laugh.
Gross.
The 167 times. God, Keaton's just so good. Also iconic.
Yep.
And it's just so funny that in the next year he would end up playing Batman, and it's such a dynamically different.
Do you know who they considered for Beetlejuice before they went with Michael Keaton?
I've heard it. Who is it?
Sam Kinison.
Yep.
which would have been a wild.
Yeah, absolutely wild choice.
Not me. Seen it like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, I've probably seen it more than that, but I do love that movie. But I find now that I go back to Exorcist 3 as far as my rewatches of the series.
And supposedly Tim Burton considered Sammy Davis Jr.
That would have been so interesting. Could you imagine Sammy Davis in this role?
Yeah, I think he would have. I mean, that dude was real talented.
I know, that's what I mean. Like, I think he probably actually really would have probably killed it. I'm surprised Keaton doesn't do more voice work just because he's so dynamic.
Well, I mean, he did Chick Hicks in Cars, and he did Ken in the Toy Story movies.
Yeah.
So he's done
a couple.
He's done some stuff lately, yeah.
Yeah. I just meant the reason I meant that was like I think he could have been very successful also in animation, you know?
Yeah. Oh, he was in Minions.
Oh yeah. I forgot about that.
He, of course, re-teamed with Burton and Dumbo.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in Morbius, apparently.
Yep.
And he's in The Trial of the Chicago 7, which I cannot wait to hit Netflix Friday. So,
I really can't wait to watch that, man.
Me too.
You're kind these days.
I agree with this for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, I just think he's so talented, and I think it would have been really cool to see that play out. But
I've actually heard this before, that Sam Kinison and Roseanne were offered to play the Bundys in Married with Children. I can't even begin to imagine the mania and toxicity that would have been on that set.
Yeah, absolutely.
Whew.
And here we're coming up to one of the most iconic scenes of all time.
It's funny. I always remember Lydia having a bigger role in the movie.
Right? And
very little role. I think as I watched the animated series so much as a kid, where she was the main, her and Beetlejuice were the main characters.
Right. Well, and then also to your and my credit of how much we love the musical, she's also, it's all about them. It's not about, like, everyone else is still in it, but they're the ones that are minor roles.
Well, even in the curtain call, when they came out and did bows,
it's just so iconic.
Lydia got the last bow.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen uglier furniture in my life.
Right?
It's delightfully hideous.
Go home. I just love the way that this plays out, man. And it's not easy to make it look like you're uncomfortable and unwilling to do this, and yet they make it work.
The choreography is really fun.
Yeah.
Makes me want to dance. I'm dancing with Kylo Ren, who I'm sure you can see on my shirt.
Yep. 6 foot, 7 foot, 8 foot bunch. Daylight, come and me one
bunch.
Go home.
Come and me one go home.
It's just so whoever thought this up is I just can't believe that they thought it could be as iconic as it is.
I don't think they had any idea
no.
how it was going to be received and how it would endure.
Right. And that's what I mean. Like, it's just so interesting to think that's what they were coming up with this. You would have had no idea.
No idea. And I think that's part of the problem with a lot of what gets made, and I'm not one of those people who doesn't like modern movies. There's tons of stuff, and I like blockbusters and superhero movies and all that stuff. But I think so good,
So good. The hands coming out in the
so
design.
good. I think there's a wrong choice to try and reverse engineer cult success
Yes.
instead of just letting artists make what they want to make, and then the cult success happens thereafter.
I 100% agree with you. I think when you chase the cult factor, you more often than not are going to fail.
Or
Well, maybe not fail, but
when you design something in the intent of making a cinematic universe instead of just making something, and then if it gets popular, then maybe you make a universe. It's like, just
Right.
start, make one good thing, and then we'll see what happens thereafter.
right. Here they are using their daughter's photos for money.
People try too hard to make those lasting moments. They don't just let it happen. Yeah,
I agree.
And sometimes they absolutely do happen. There's so much stuff that is wonderful. When it's not forced.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's one I always come back to that I hope more and more people discover. And I remain mad you haven't watched it, PJ.
Oh, yeah.
Fast Color.
I really need to. Why not? Please, they're dead. Oh, man,
It's never too late to be neurotic. Let me tell you.
that line. Wow. That's one way to say it.
Burn. He's right, though. Her sculptures are hideous.
Oh, they're awful. Winona Ryder was supposed to be in Godfather 3 also. She was originally supposed to be the Sofia Coppola character.
Oh. Imagine how much better that could have been.
What did she leave to do? She went to do something else, and I can't remember what it is.
Well, right around the same time would have been The Age of Innocence, maybe, with Scorsese? Or Bram, or well, no, it wouldn't have been Bram Stoker's Dracula because that was Francis Ford Coppola. So yeah, I think Age of Innocence.
Yeah, Age of Innocence sounds correct.
And Sofia Coppola is one of my favorite filmmakers, but boy, is she bad in that movie.
I'm one of the people who doesn't really seem to mind her performance. I don't think it's necessarily very good, but I've never been either very bothered by it either.
I wonder if people would be less harsh on it if it wasn't a case of nepotism.
Sure.
And I don't mind nepotism if the nepotism proves to be good work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, hey, Jake. How's it going, dude?
What's going on, Jake? Yeah, Robin Williams was considered for Joker and Batman, and he would go on to be considered for quite a few roles in different iterations of those movies.
He was so good at playing evil characters, like
1 Hour Photo is fucking terrifying.
Or Insomnia.
Yeah, Insomnia too.
He's real good in Insomnia.
Robin Williams is straight up one of the all-time great dramatic actors also, just period.
Oh, it was Edward Scissorhands that was the same year as Godfather 3. Interesting. Okay.
That would make sense then too.
So she did end up working with Francis Ford Coppola afterwards for Dracula.
Mhm.
Okay. Got it.
I can't imagine Edward Scissorhands without her, so it's probably the right call if that's the one she went to.
I think so too.
So good. That stop motion work is just phenomenal.
It really is great. It looks like, I know we were talking about how well the effects in Poltergeist endured,
Yeah.
and these look even better. I know this was a few years later, but stop motion never goes out of style. It looks
No.
great always.
Yeah.
Because it was physically there on set, you know?
Yeah. And it works and it looks remarkable. It stands out in how cool it really is.
It blends in so effortlessly with the actual environment.
Right. We come for your daughter, Chuck. Oh,
Oh, Winona.
I know. That's just such a great effect.
I agree. She is a horrible guy. She should have loved that. Wednesday Addams would have been all about that shit.
Yep. He gets stuck. The sound effect of him popping out is just so good.
I'm actually pretty excited about seeing him as Vulture again.
I am too.
I think it's increasingly clear they're going to do the Sinister Six.
Yep.
Because he's so good in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, dude, that reveal.
He's like truly, like, that's one of like the most audible audience reactions I've experienced in a while. And
right.
he is when he realizes Pete and Pete realizes, he's so menacing.
Yeah, I think it's honestly one of the most menacing scenes in the MCU.
I think he's one of the top tier villains in the MCU too.
Yeah. This whole so ridiculous.
I can't tell if that's a motel, a strip club, or a mini golf course.
All of the above.
I want to play mini golf. I'm gonna go play later this week.
I love mini golf.
They should make a Beetlejuice mini golf course.
That'd be great. The football team design is really good too. I love how zombie-ish they all look.
Yeah. The whorehouse was my idea.
I love that now they're coming out to be like, now we have to deal with it, even though they tried to talk to him earlier.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
What was that?
Oh, I was quoting the movie. Have you guys seen Michael Keaton Pacific Heights? He was scary in that film. I have not.
I don't think so.
You need to check that out.
That grass is so green.
Yep. It almost feels intentional. Like a grass is always greener on the other side sort of thing.
I feel like Tim Burton and his crew are coming in with like spray paint to make it look greener and greener. I like the idea of the patio edition. Yes. I don't like those chairs. They look uncomfortable and garish.
Yeah. They have terrible taste is really what it is. Otho's like not in the musical much at all.
He's very different.
Mm-hmm.
I'm alone.
This is pretty dark for a family film.
Have they even mentioned her mom once?
Not really.
I think so.
Like they barely even allude to the fact that Lydia is a stepdaughter much, you know? Like there's kind of the lines of she's your mother, but they never dive deeper than that. And once again, we've talked about it a lot, but the effects work in this is so exceptional and the designs are so cool.
So cool.
Like this creature design is beyond kind of brilliant.
Yeah. I've never really seen anything like it before.
Or since, really, right?
I mean, I think Tim Burton has gone back to the well a little bit in some of his stuff, but
Not quite like this, though. Some of the others, for sure, especially Edward Scissorhands, especially to me, feels like the very prototypical Burton, you know? I don't think we survived that crash.
how did you guess?
Yes.
So good.
This script is very smart.
It's funny.
Yeah.
Hello.
Dead ski. Deceased. The way he says why there is very interesting to me because it almost seems caring. Like he almost slips, you know?
Yeah.
Or almost annoyed because he probably would love to be alive.
I think you would definitely love to be alive.
Yep.
Autographs and shit like that.
Mm-hmm. Turn around and look behind you. Hi, how are you?
Beat up breakfast.
I just love the dynamic. It's just such a great performance, man.
You are not wrong.
I get so wrapped up in that whole section because I think the dynamic back and forth is so fun. And they couldn't be more different of characters to be kind of having that battle of wits. The Lydia thing is very interesting for me in this too, because they don't spend a lot of time talking about the fact that they might have kids in this like they do in the musical. Like they want to be parents so badly. So them kind of wrapping it around on this idea of they just want to be with Lydia is very interesting to me.
Sad.
I know. And she's so young for that, wanting that kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That nose. It's so good. No, don't take the bottles. They're so quick to try to capitalize on this. I find it so fascinating.
They are snakes.
Yeah.
Robert Goulet. I always think about SNL when I think about Robert Goulet.
Yeah, the Will Ferrell.
We can't lose.
The way he says that, so dismissive, and he's just like, come on now. We just want to see the ghosts.
I don't believe you.
Yeah. Boy Meets World, Robert Goulet. What was he in Boy Meets World?
I don't know.
I don't remember him being in Boy Meets World. If I'm misremembering, Hey, what's going on? It's good to see you. That snake. The way she says that and his reaction is so good.
She looks so hurt. He looks so hurt. I mean,
yeah, I definitely. I think of Naked Gun also because I love him as the villain. Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit tonight, Cheryl. The musical and the comparisons. I think that it builds out the story in the right way, and also brings stuff from the animated series too.
And I wouldn't be surprised if we talk about it some more on Thursday. Hint, hint, hint.
There's a very good chance of that. I agree with you.
I'm just jamming to the music.
I know. I just can't get enough of all the effects work and stuff in this. I think it's so good.
I agree.
And this is crazy too. Like, I actually love the way they did this.
It's creepy.
Yeah. Yeah, the way it does that is scary. And just the whole way she's dying.
It's the scariest, like creepiest part of the movie, I think.
Absolutely.
A very different sort of seance than the one in Host.
Very.
The makeup is just, I can't get over it.
I know. That shot of Geena Davis right there, it's just so... God, what amazing special effects work. What amazing makeup.
This is why it won the Oscar for makeup.
Yeah. This becomes such a deal with the devil type of situation that I get so fascinated by. So Fausty. And that music sounds very Faust-like. If you ever think of like those play versions of it.
Yeah. It's a good point. So obviously the Beetlejuice Lydia marriage thing is creepy.
Yeah.
I think the musical does a better job of poking fun at how weird and creepy it is. But it's I mean, I think it's okay that it's creepy because it's a movie about ghosts.
The lightning effect, just iconic. That whole dialogue. And there it is.
And the score.
Yeah. This is just such a great... I love this. again, what incredible designs. And the way that this becomes a fun house is just so cool.
Fun?
Like, it looks like the inside of a fun house. I mean, not fun for them, but if you were at a carnival, that's what it kind of feels like. Oh, so...
Round boy. That's not nice.
No. But Beetlejuice is not a nice person, you know.
Yeah, I actually I saw an article earlier today that was like 5 times where Beetlejuice is hilarious and 5 times where he's just really mean. Which, yeah.
Yeah, checks out. The wedding suit Beetlejuice is so amazing.
Yeah, she's like 13 or 14 and he's a creepy old dead guy.
Yeah. Again, the musical does a much better job at poking fun at it. Stop motion, man. There's nothing like it.
Excuse me. Yeah, it's really...
There's some design work from this stuff, too, that kind of reminds me of Pixar and Toy Story and some of the designs in that first movie.
I could see that.
So good. That design is awesome.
Yeah, he sure did.
Yeah.
So, do you know who plays the preacher?
No, I don't actually.
Tony Cox.
Really?
From Bad Santa.
Yeah. I had no idea. That's so cool. Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
Tony Cox is also in Return of the Jedi.
Yes. Everything about this is just such a very cool thing.
Oh.
That scream. Oh, man.
Ouch.
Yep.
It's true.
That is. It's amazing how good Michael Keaton is at slapstick.
Hey, Tim.
Hi, Tim.
The sandworm.
Yep. We all need a sandworm in our lives.
I have one. His name is Oswald.
That's true.
You have 2. Their names are Mabel and Dipper.
This is also true. He is. We talk a lot about Captain EO on this channel. It comes up quite a bit.
Hooter.
Yeah. Also directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
which makes no sense to me.
I know. And produced by George Lucas.
Her riding the sandworm is so cool.
Oh, it's so fantastic.
It's a cool movie. Vampires.
Yep.
Miss Shannon's School for Girls.
Yep.
I really think a Beetlejuice sequel could work.
I do too, but I also so badly want to see an adaptation of some sort of the musical, and I want to see Brightman in it. Because I think it would be... I want to see Keaton back in the role, but I also think it would be a mistake not to try to use Brightman in any capacity right now if you have him.
She's so happy and smiley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cartoon was great, Star Drew. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
And again, I think the musical is the best marriage between the movie, the animated series, and it being its own thing. The fact that the new one is a design of the Beetlejuice snake. And of course, iconic. Work, Sonora. Work your body line. Work, Sonora.
Body.
Work it all the time.
Work, Sonora. It all the time.
I believe you. On time. This is so good. Being stuck between it. The witch doctor and the shrunken head. Even the shrunken head wants nothing to do with Beetlejuice. It's very nice work.
Yeah, we were talking about this earlier, Brian. The score is incredible.
This effects work right here with the shrinking of the head is magnificent. And the way his voice goes. It might be a good look for me. And then the football players dancing in the background. Man, that movie just goes by so quick. Such an easy in and out 90-minute film that just makes me so happy. My friend Maxwell, what did you think on our rewatch of Beetlejuice?
I love Beetlejuice. Like you said, it goes by real quick. It's spooky. It's whimsical. The effects, the stop motion, the score, the makeup is all incredible. Keaton's performance is great, and Catherine O'Hara is the secret MVP for me.
Oh, absolutely. I think that Catherine O'Hara is just so fantastic all throughout, and I think that her performance really kind of offsets even more of the craziness, if you will, because she's already so over the top, which makes their reaction to the entire situation make so much sense because they're already heightened and not all there to me. But
yes, they do. Yes, they do, Brian.
They do. They do have Shrunken Head Guy, and it's awesome. I think also, obviously, Alec Baldwin and Geena Davis really do anchor the film, and Winona Ryder is so likable.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a good movie. I think for me, this is kind of the quintessential Tim Burton, if you will. I mean, Batman '89 obviously also matters a lot to me, and I love it very much. But to me, when I think of everything that Tim Burton kind of is, it kind of goes back to this one for me because I think this is the one that always had the biggest effect on me overall, and the one that I continue to go back to so frequently and is still very iconic to this day because, as we said, like the musical, the animated series, the world has been visited time and again, and even recently, as
Halloween
of last
Horror
week,
Night house that should have been and will hopefully be next year.
Yep, as you can see right here, and of course, as we were talking about, also Teen Titans Go had Beetlejuice literally last week on their Halloween special. So that means to me that this character is still iconic. He is still
beloved.
Beloved, and it matters to a lot of people. This IP matters to a lot of people. I think we've proven that. And so it's just fun to go back to it and to enjoy it, and it holds up. That's the most important.
It really does. It really does.
And I think the script is whip smart. I think it's for me, it's Burton at his absolute best. And I do agree with Mike, late 80s, early 90s Burton is really Burton at his best. But I mean, I don't think we have a lot more to add, my friend. Would you like to run through our week real quick and announce next Monday's watch along?
Hey, yeah, what do you think? What should we watch next Monday?
Well, it's still spooky season, and there's one in particular that people seem to really love that I think it just celebrated some sort of anniversary and may have just had a recent release.
Could it be Hocus Pocus?
I believe that is the one. We are going to be watching Hocus Pocus next Monday here again, 7 p.m. PDT, 10 p.m. EDT. Having fun hanging out with this witchy trio.
The movie is on Disney Plus. I've been a big fan of it. I think it's one of the quintessential Halloween films. Bette Midler is amazing, and I look forward to watching Hocus Pocus with all you guys. Let's run through a couple other things real quick. Wednesday night, Sunday Soundtracks, Tangled edition with Jen Kemp and Jillian, who won the Video Chronic Tangled quiz. And then Thursday night, a very special episode of Front Center Mezzanine. Instead of the traditional interview format we've been doing, we are going to be discussing our favorite spooky musicals. If you want more Beetlejuice content, I would think that's a good place to go. And for that, we are going to be joined by composer Preston Max Allen, who wrote We Are the Tigers, as well as the one and only Video Drew. That's going to be awesome. Thursday, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Friday, nothing. Watch the Schmodown pay-per-view. Support the writers. Be nice to the writers. So Saturday, Conjuring Watchalong, Scary Movie Squad. I'll be there. PJ will be there. Tim Franco, I think, will be there.
Yep.
Chris Clark will be there. Maybe other people. Who knows? You never know who might pop up. And then Sunday, the Sunday Evening Unwind is back. Hopefully we're going to do it every Sunday. The turnout and reception for last night's pilot premiere episode was really nice. And I hope it can just be like a fun place for you guys to hang out and ask us questions and talk. Box 2. Box 2 is coming Tuesday, October 20th with our guest, William Bibiani. There's some silly stuff going on with me and Kristen. I think it's going to be pretty good. I think you're going to want to watch that. If you like Box 1, despite PJ,
what?
I think you'll like Box 2.
Wow.
I really do. That about does it. You know, of course, we have our Patreon. Check it out. Look at all the different tiers. Sign up. We really appreciate the support. And speaking of support, let's go through our producers one more time, shall we?
Yes, we should.
Boom. Our gold tier associate producer, Brandy Parker. Thank you, Brandy. Our Ruby tier producers, Brandon Buckingham, Kale the Youth Critic, Stephen White, Ferris Muthana, Michael K. Bedore, and our newest Ruby tier producer, Molly Damon. Thank you all so much for your support. The more the merrier. We have lots of stuff that we're cooking up, and we're going to be here, whether you like it or not, for a long time to come.
Yes, sir.
I think,
and you have a quiz or a questionnaire.
Oh yeah, the survey. So I announced it last night on the Unwind. There's a link on my Twitter. There's a link in the PJCN Facebook group. I know PJ retweeted it. I have 2 copies here. Pete Buttigieg's book Trust just came out last week. Really good book. And if you fill out the survey, it's just 5 questions. We're just trying to get some feedback about the network, what you enjoy, what you'd like to see more of. Everyone who fills out the survey will automatically be entered to win a copy of the book. And on next Sunday's Unwind, we will announce 2 winners who will be picked at random. All you got to do is fill out the survey. It takes like 3 minutes at most.
Yeah, I mean, and that pretty much wraps us up here for tonight. But I can't say again, you guys, thank you so much, as always, for all your continued support. Without you guys, this channel doesn't exist. Without you guys, we wouldn't be able to just have fun and do this stuff. So thank you to all of our Patreons. Thank you for all the donations through Streamlabs and everything else. You guys are so remarkable, and we thank you from the bottom of my heart. It means the world, because I love doing this, and we love that you guys love that we're doing it.
Just to think of where you started in March, and then I think I joined the team in April, and how we've grown it, the new content we've come up with, the loyal fans we have, how we keep expanding the channel, creating all types of new content. And I really think we've delivered on our mission statement. There's a ton of Schmodown related content, and we're ancillary to the Schmodown. We're part of that community. That's how you guys probably know us. But we want to make a different content that's not about the Schmodown. That's fun, where we're positive and optimistic, share our love of movies and musicals and television and books and video games and all that good stuff. Oh, and speaking of video games, if you do follow Chris Clark on Twitter, he put out a little tease for something we're working on, Pokemon related. That's going to be fun. We do have a Twitch now. All of our stuff is being simulcast to Twitch. So if you want to check us out live on Twitch, subscribe to our Twitch so we can work towards getting affiliate status, which will allow us to do all sorts of more fun things, because I think the plan is there's going to be some Twitch-only content coming up that'll be more video game related. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. But we're working on all sorts of fun stuff. You're going to be sick of us before the year is out. And yeah. And then real quick, we teased it on Friday night, but if you guys are in our Discord, we've teased that we're doing Merry Movie Squad, because we're going to be doing a lot of Christmas and holiday based stuff through November and December. Just to give you guys an idea of some of the stuff you have to look forward to, we're going to be doing a double feature of Trading Spaces and Coming to America. And I do believe we have a super duper extra special guest for that one.
Yes.
If you've ever been to the grocery store and you've gone to the produce department and you're like, oh, look at those cucumbers. Oh, look at the zucchini. Oh, look at those carrots. I wonder if those carrots come in a smaller size.
Yeah.
That's
almost baby size.
Baby sized.
Yeah.
That's the hint I'll give for that. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. That's going to be super fun.
And then, yeah. Oh, go ahead, my friend. You go.
Please, take it away.
Well, look, we can't finish the year without doing the 2 greatly written John Hughes films, Home Alone and Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Home Alone 2 is one of my favorite movies of all time. They both are, but Lost in New York holds a very, very special place in my heart. And I just adore these films so much. I can't wait to talk about those with you guys later in December.
And that is just a tease of what we have coming up in November and December. I think on Halloween night, if you join us, we will unveil our full schedule of Merry Movie Squad content to wet the whistle. But with that, you can find me on Twitter at Cinemaxwell, Instagram at Cinemaxwell Inc. I'll be back here Thursday night for our Front Center Mezzanine. PJ?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at PJ_Campbell. Of course, you can find me here pretty much every time we're on, hanging out, having a good time with all my favorite people. And I will be here Wednesday night as well, or Thursday night, I should say, for Front Center Mezzanine, talking to all the spooky musicals. Then Saturday night, Conjuring double feature. Come hang out. It's going to be a blast. And Movie Trivia Schmodown. Go watch the tournaments. It's going crazy. Singles tournament is almost over for the season, which means we're going straight into the teams titles, and you guys aren't going to want to miss it.
It's true. I know no spoilers, but I can assure you it's going to be thrilling.
Yeah, and it just keeps going. Patreons today over at the Schmodown did get the Ethan Irwin Jeff Snyder match. If you have seen it, you know already it was incredible, and that's just so much more to come of everything for the rest of the season. I can't wait to see how it's all going to end.
Yeah, fasten your seatbelts.
Yeah. But with that, my friend, I think we should probably get out of here, don't you think?
I'm going to roll the credits, BJ.
All right, guys. Have a great night. Thanks again for being here. We will see you guys later.